Hi, very good morning. I'll try and keep this very brief, this video, but what Trump has done, Donald Trump, is very irresponsible. And I'm not talking about the fact that, he just cut the arms supply off to Ukraine, and then there was the cutting of the intelligence off. But the irresponsible thing here he did was actually make it public. In doing that, he notified Putin that America wasn't going to supply him with arms and intelligence. And of course, guess what Putin's done? He has taken advantage of this time at the moment and launched massive attacks on Ukraine. Now, if Donald Trump is going to align himself with Donald Trump, which it looks like clearly he's doing, because he's ostracising his both neighbours at either border on America, Mexico and Canada, then I suggest that he is a security threat to NATO and that America should be kicked out of NATO with immediate effect. Because you cannot have somebody who is in alignment knowing all of NATO's top secrets and military, plans, and then having the ability to go back to Putin and relay those to him. I'm just saying there was no need to make it public awareness that he was going to stop the military armament going there and supplying of the intelligence. Do that by all means, but by allowing it to become public knowledge, it flew straight back to the Kremlin, and they have acted upon that. And that's why I say what Donald Trump has done is massively, irresponsible, to say the least, because he has, by doing that, caused the loss of lives for many people in Ukraine over the last few days. You want to cut the arms off? Cut them off. You want to cut the intelligence off? By all means, cut it off. Your prerogative. But when you broadcast it to the media, it will fly straight back to the Kremlin, as it has done, and they will take advantage, as they have done. You know what? I can see America being on their own. That's what they want, so be it. But when the American people actually realise what a tariff is, because I'm sure that a lot of them don't, I know a lot of them do, but there's a majority of people that are just so hell-bent on the fact that, Donald Trump is doing what exactly we asked him to do. Wait until they see the price of eggs in 2 months' time in the shops. Wait until they see the grocery bills. Wait until they see how much fuel costs at the pump in 2 months' time. What Donald Trump is doing is aggravating the entire world. He's set to be putting tariffs on Europe soon. So all the things that get imported from Europe are going to cost the average American 25%, maybe 30%, maybe even more, with the retaliatory tariffs that are going to be put on after, the counter tariffs come back to America. It's just going to drive everything up for Americans. You know what? Us Europeans, we've got enough countries to, achieve what we need to manage without America. We do not need them. Yes, they've got one of the largest military forces in the world, but let them have it. But combined with all of Europe, I'm thinking that we've got probably a bigger army than America with the whole of Europe. One other thing I just want to touch on is that Donald Trump has been griping that, European countries haven't been chipping in enough. Well, I just want to give you, for instance, our GDP, let's say, is £3.4 trillion a year. If we give 5% of that, that's a reasonable amount towards the military. Now, America's GDP is 28 trillion, which is now, if they give 5%, we have done the exact same as them. They've got a bigger GDP than us, and therefore their 5% is obviously going to reflect more money. But we've both put 5%. Yes, we've got a smaller GDP of only 3.4 trillion, and America has a 28 trillion GDP. But if we both put 5%, then we've both put the same amount. Yes, the money amounts are different, but we've both put 5% of our GDP. You know, we cannot match what America puts in because America has a population of 300 million compared to 67 million here in the UK. We cannot simply put the same amount of money as America does because America's GDP is much greater and therefore they have more ability to pay more than what the UK does. So if we put 5% and America puts 5% and the rest of the European countries all put 5% of their GDP in, we're all putting the same in. Now there will be some countries that will, their 5% compared to the UK's 5% will be less. But, you know, it's fair that they put 5% if we'll put in 5%. You know, if we can manage putting 5% in, all the other countries, even though the GDP may be lower than ours, put 5%, then there's no arguing. But okay, you know, Donald Trump moans about that. I don't think he understands mathematics. I really don't. And you know what? I just think we should throw America out now of NATO completely because they're not needed. You know, we've got aircraft carriers. We don't need their aircraft carriers. We can look after our own continents. We have ICBMs. Just like America does. And trust me, even the ICBMs that belong to the UK is entirely enough to wipe out Russia on its own. Let alone, you know, the ICBMs that belong to France. Who are now, Macron has offered to, well, the talk is on the table to umbrella other countries with the French ICBMs. So if they are under threat by a country that has nuclear ability, then they will be under the umbrella of France's nuclear arms and they'll be protected under that. So, you know, we don't need America. So let them disappear. Let them ostracise all their neighbours. Look what they've done to Canada, their closest ally and friend. And this had nothing to do with, you know, that drug coming across the border, because when it was worked out, you know, it was a suitcase full. Something that somebody could carry in a suitcase. I think it worked out about 42 pounds of that drug that they want to eliminate. And Canada had already set aside 100, I think it was, or £1.5 billion for security, you know, and done what America said, but they still did it. But they used it as an excuse. What Trump is trying to do is rape everybody's countries, car manufacturing and other manufacturing of all sorts, and bring it to America, and therefore they don't have to pay tariffs. But that is wrong, because if you are encouraging other people's manufacturing to go to your country to set up shop there, then you are taking jobs from other countries. You know what? When did America get so toxic? That's what I want to know. And if America want to go it alone, good luck to them. Because, you know what? They're rubbing up China the wrong way. And if we was to turn round and say, we're not going to help you out in this battle, then they've got a big battle on their hands with China. Over 1 million soldiers that are deployable. And if you look at what China is doing currently, they are building massive landing craft. Some would say, oh, that's not for the US. That's for Taiwan. Well, I just suggest that if you're an American, you have a look at the recent news, if you haven't already. Because what you'll find is that the CCP, Chinese Communist Party, Xi Jinping's party, have just announced that they are prepared to go to whatever war America wants. And they will fight to the end. So if you want to keep ostracising your neighbours like Mexico and your ally, Canada, and your European friends or your NATO friends, then carry on going down the road that you're going. And the only other thing I say is, you know what? You wanted Trump? Well, you also will accept then the cost that your pumps in 2 months' time and the grocery bills in 2 months' time and the rapid inflation that is going to incur. If you don't want no allies, carry on. You can disappear into the sunset on your own. Because it's called strength in numbers for a reason. And Europe don't need you. We have just, Ursula von has just, the chairperson of the International Monetary Fund, has just announced nearly £1 trillion to be spent on rearming Europe. So we don't need America. Let them carry on. Let them sail off into the sunset. Let them carry on ostracising everybody. You know what? Trump is just an annoying dickhead. Clearly has no clue about world affairs and shouldn't be in the position that he is in. But you know what? This is Americans for you. Let them carry on. I don't care if I upset some of them Americans. I know that some of them, you know, understand where I'm coming from, because what he has done recently to Ukraine was uncalled for. It was childish and irresponsible. You know what? If you don't want to supply arms to Ukraine, fair enough. If you don't want to give them intelligence, fair enough. But you do not have to undermine their military capability and make them vulnerable by announcing it to the world media so that Putin can take full advantage of it. And that's exactly what Trump has done, 100% on his own accord. So that's all I want to say. Link down there if you want help support. If not, it's up to you. Bye for now.